Hey everyone, Zadrak here, and today I'm going to be doing the animated texture tutorial. This is going to be a pretty quick one because there's really not much to how to make an animated texture in MaterialMaker. It's actually excruciatingly simple. So the first thing you're going to want to do is load up a dynamic PBR material. If you don't know how to do that, it's just when you load it up, you just right click on it and switch it from static PBR to dynamic PBR. It's really easy. And then what you're going to want to do is set up a remote node like so. You want to click on this little AB here and set up a name parameter. You can basically call this whatever you want. I usually just call it speed. This will be the official name for when you use the parameter, and this will be the I guess the name you want to use for it. You don't actually have to fill this one in if you don't want to. You can just use speed. I've already got it set up here. So basically, MaterialMaker allows you to place values instead of just numbers. So if I wanted to, well, actually I've got an example here. So I've set up a math node. This is just A times B. So the input for A is speed, which is my little variable up here, 0.1. And the B is time. Now time is a value that MaterialMaker uses. It's sort of like tick speed, I suppose, but it's extremely fast. So hold on, just let me plug in this. So as you can see, this little bit here that I've got will cycle through these four colors. It's using the time times 0.1. If I had this as time times time, I mean obviously that's not great, but that's what happens. So we have to slow it down a bit for this. But basically just using this, we can make all sorts of different animations. So I've got a couple other examples here. Here I've got a rotating star. It's rotating very slowly at the moment because speed is obviously very slow. I don't know why, but for rotation specifically, it doesn't seem to rotate them very fast, but it is rotating. But if we change speed to, I don't know, 200 maybe, you can see that it is rotating. Yeah. And then here I've got another example which you might recognize from the original video that I made. This is basically just the blood texture. I've taken the color out of it. I'm just translating this along the X and Y axis using the time times speed thing. And there's a lot of different ways you can use this. You don't just have to do time and speed. You can have any number of values that you want. So we've got speed. We can have speed 2 or something, and then we can have this be set up to be speed 2. Speed 2 could be 200, I guess. So yeah, that still works, but with speed 2 being 200, that rotates at an acceptable speed. And you can combine these as well. So if I set up a blend node and I set this to screen and I have this as the background and I pop that in there, as you can see, that changes the background. What else? I remember. So this is a texture I'm sure everybody is extremely familiar with. However, it's also animated. Now, how I achieved this effect is quite complicated, which is why I've had to load it in so I can just explain it. So basically what I did was I took this warp texture that I'm also using for depth, I put it through a colorize node just to define the edges a bit better, inverted it, and put it through a blend. Now what I've got on this blend is a colorize node, set to be half black and half white. Rotated it by 90 degrees, and I've set the center X to be sine times speed. Probably should have said that a bit better. But basically what that does is, if anybody's familiar with a sine wave, and they might not be, so I'll probably put put in an example of a sine wave over the top of this in editing, if I remember. Is a sine wave goes up and down. So this basically just takes the time times speed value and makes it go up and down continuously. It's a little bit difficult to explain, but I think once you've used it enough, you figure it out pretty quickly. And then I just take this input and I invert it again, and I put it into the opacity for this blend, which is also using this white filter edge color. Now this is the actual color it's using, so if I change this to red or something, and maybe red isn't the best option for this, if I change it to blue or something, yeah, it's really quite simple. At the moment I've got it set to be white emission, which is why I have that be white. I probably don't need that there, but it's just for my sanity, so it makes it look like it glows. But as you can see in the 2D preview, because of the way I've got this set up, it goes up and then it will come back down and it fills in those little areas. But yeah, that's pretty much all it is to animated textures in MaterialMaker. You just set up a time times whatever your value is named. It doesn't have to be speed. I always use speed because it's pretty simple. You can have as many of these as you want, and set them up for different things in textures. But yeah, that was a bit of a quick one. If you like the video, like and subscribe. Put a comment down if there's anything else you want me to demonstrate. I think I'm probably going to start making more Godot centric videos now. I've been very, very busy working on something that I think, a lot of people would like to see how I've done certain things in that. So yeah.